Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today is Saturday. We're going to be doing a lot of crafting. Maybe watch a few YouTube videos about Amsterdam to help us get inspired for our city layout. So I kind of already have most of the infrastructure set up as far as whatchamacallit, like all the canals that I want to have. But the thing is, um, like some of the building architecture, I think I'm gonna lean on like studying whatchamacallit, city of Amsterdam to help me be inspired by like their architecture in that city. And I'm not sure if Amsterdam has. I know this mic is not keeps cutting out. No, Amsterdam has so many canals, so I want to blend that with a bunch of plazas, easily accessible, good transportation networks. And if you watched the last video, this is the latest plaza that I'm building. And like I said, just easy access to the water. Because out here, it's just the open ocean. And this is south of what the downtown is going to be. All right, I think I'm out of granite. Maybe I might have like one more stack of granite somewhere. Hopefully, you guys can't hear I'm doing the laundry in the background. Okay, I've got a little granite. Still got a little bit. I did take away, tear down some trees over here. So yeah, I want to kind of have like a diagonal entrance to the plaza, have this open as well. Yeah, I think the laundry in the background is causing my mic to cut out because I've got the noise reduction feature turned on in OBS. So yeah, the incline on this corner is going to have to be more sharp. Whereas right here, I just have kind of a gradual climb. Let's see, maybe I think I should focus on extending this out as much as I can. Yeah, the washing machine is pretty loud, so I think that's definitely interfering with the audio. Thinking first things first, I think I'm gonna just dig some more granite, finish this plaza. Hmm. Usually I think the hand will move if I'm swinging at the air. Huh. See if I'm gonna get it. Oh, man. Oh, pretty heavy mob spawning area. Probably this little cave doesn't help. And I think underneath, I don't know where these mobs are coming from. Just the shade from the forest. I don't know if it would help if I turn the mic up. Obviously, the closer I am, the better it picks up. But with this noise canceling or noise reduction feature turned on, I think it's trying to take out the noise of the washing machine. Alright, I guess we will queue up the Amsterdam video. I pulled up a couple of videos. Alrighty.
Roughly a quarter of the surface area of Amsterdam is covered in water. 165 canals run over 100 kilometers throughout the city, and more than 1,200 bridges make it walkable or bikeable. Most of it was built in the span of a single century, and its growth can be simplified into a couple specific stages.
Amsterdam is much more of a planned city, and there's a lot of constraints. The way people deal with these constraints are very interesting, I think.
And when you start to understand the motivations for each section, you can read the map like a book.
I think
We made it to Amsterdam.
I kind of have the video cropped too much.
I'm so excited to make this video because this
Oh
is what
well.
I've been looking forward to for a long time. Honestly,
This is Daniel Steiner's video called Amsterdam's Map Explained.
My name is Jaap Evert Abrahamsen, and I'm an architectural historian, and I work for the Cultural Heritage Agency of the Netherlands and as an endowed professor of architectural history at the VU University in Amsterdam.
My name is Jochem. I was born and raised in Amsterdam, and I run the YouTube channel The Present Past.
My name is Annemarie de Wild. I'm a historian, and I've worked for a long time as a curator at the Amsterdam Museum.
If you follow the Amstel River to the sea, just as you get to the canal belt, you will see an unnaturally straight stretch of the river. This is the first man-made canal in the city, and it's the reason Amsterdam.
I know the Netherlands has a lot of like low-lying areas.
To a problem that farmers in the region had been dealing with. The landscape they farmed was a low-lying, flat, marshy area made up of peat.
So peat is basically dead leaves that have stacked on top of each other, have been pressed together over the millennia.
Wow, look at that.
That is organic and quite soft.
To make the land suitable for farming, the water needed to be drained. There are still places not far from the city where you can visualize what this would have been like. But there was a problem. The land wasn't draining as fast as they needed it to. It was too far upstream from its outlet. But if they could connect it to a closer outlet, then it could drain much faster. So that's exactly what they did. Building this canal turned two rivers into one, the Amstel. And it solved their problem of drainage, but it also created a new problem. Now, when there was a storm surge, salty water could be pushed upriver and threaten the crops. And this leads us
In
to
Square.
modern day
Oh.
Dam Square.
Okay, this place is called Dam Square, and it's called Dam Square because this used to be the dam in the River Amstel that gave Amsterdam its name, and it closed off the mouth of the River Amstel. But as you look around here now, you don't see any dam and you don't see any river. The canals have been filled in, and lots of new buildings have been created. And instead of boats, you see the trams and the cars.
I think at the end of the day, you have to like build up.
As unassuming as it may seem now, this dam was the foundation of the city. It could be opened to let the fresh water out and closed to prevent the salt water from coming in.
The peat soil is subsiding while the sea is still there. So you have to build dams and dikes to contain the sea.
But the creation of the dam had a bigger impact. Without it, the Amstel would have remained a minor river in a swampy delta. But with the canal and the dam, this was now a hub for trade.
The River Amstel was an inland connection where you could get to Rotterdam and Dordrecht, so you didn't have to sail the North Sea, which was a very dangerous place. So this was
That's really interesting.
and an important road. So this is the place where a lot of where the harbor of Amsterdam was created.
Literally, the beginning of the city goes back to controlling the water.
Yeah, I like the idea of like four-story high
City, it becomes clear that the dam
buildings.
is at its center. From
Like
there,
skinny,
buildings
tall
were built
buildings.
on both sides of the river, and the city turned into an H shape. By the way, this map is oriented with north on the bottom and south on the top.
This year we're celebrating the 750th birthday of Amsterdam. It's not actually the birthday because people were living here, but they were mentioned in 1275 in a document that granted the people living in Amstelredamme, so the people living in where the dam and the Amstel was constructed, they were granted privileges to trade their goods in the bigger area. The effect was that it accelerated growth, that it attracted other people who came to the city, so gradually, you know, the city started to expand, which meant that every time they had to deal with this marshy land and build dikes to stop the water.
As the city grew, they built 2 additional drainage canals on either side of the Amstel. And
As you
building
can
on this
see,
swampy
my
soil
canal system.
was not easy. Because many of the structures of the medieval city were made of wood, and because there's been centuries of redevelopment since then, very few original buildings from this period exist. But this is one of them.
This is the Oude Kerk, the old church. And
The churches always
the old
stand the
church.
stand the test of time, it
Oldest building we
seems.
have left in Amsterdam.
And it rests on top of more than 2,000 wooden piles. These are massive tree trunks planted beneath the buildings to keep them from sinking into the soil. And this was common across the entire city.
The poles we ran into the ground either 12, 20 or 50 meters, because that is the 3 layers where you actually have a sandy soil.
It's proven to be probably the best solution, but it's definitely not perfect.
The buildings are actually in place, but the rest of Amsterdam is thing. So the streets have to be redone every few years, and they have to be heightened up every time.
In addition to the drainage canals, they would also build raised dikes to prevent certain areas from flooding, and a lot of these doubled as roads, and their names make it quite clear what they were.
We're now walking on Zeedijk, which literally translates to
Zeedijk.
dike. So this is literally where the old dike of the city used to be. And if you look at the map, you can see this curve around it. If you're just tracing the outline of the coast,
That's so
where
cool.
you're gonna put your dike, it's never gonna be super strict. So you can really see the height difference if you look over there and you see the people drinking a beer. They're literally on a different level. So if you are on a patch of elevation, like we're here now on the Zeedijk, it means it is man-made. It's not a natural occurrence.
The boundary of the medieval city is marked by these 2 canals, which also served as its moat.
It's Amstel with Dam Square and 2 canals on either side. And then
It's incredible
the city wall was built around it.
that they were building
That's
like
basically the medieval
canals and dikes and all that
When
so
you
many
look at
years
the medieval
ago.
city versus the rest of the canal belt, there's a distinct visual difference between the irregular, windy roads of the center of the city versus the more planned areas beyond it. So when you're walking around the city, there's a clear distinction between each of these expansions, and you can see it where we're standing really clearly, because this water, this canal, is now just part of the canal system, but it used to be the moat, and the city gate is back there that we were looking at. But this side, you can see just a solid wall of all of the buildings, and on this side, you can see the roads cutting in to each of these blocks. There are two other structures from this era that I want to point out.
Over there is the edge of the medieval city. And you can see one part of the medieval city wall that's still standing. It's called the Schreierstoren.
This is often referred to as the Weeping Tower because it was from this spot that sailors would leave their families for months or years on long voyages. If you follow just a short way down the path of the old city wall, you'll come to another surviving building, the old city gate.
So if you look over there, you can see where it says Restaurant Cafe. That is actually where the old gate to the city
That's
used to be.
really good
It has
architecture.
rings to indicate its age.
I really
And
like that.
It has rings. And we're standing right here on one of these rings showing the medieval part of the city, and outside there, the more modern part of the city.
The world changes fast, and you want to be ready for when it does. And that's what can make debt so scary. But it's as scary as it is common. So that's why Daniel Steiner, pdsdebt.com/Daniel Steiner.
Thanks, Daniel Steiner, for putting this video out here, getting me inspired for my Minecraft
It's
builds.
kind of hard to overstate the impact that the Reformation had on Europe, not just directly, but also the chain of events that it caused. The Reformation sparked wars across Europe. Backed by the Pope, kings and emperors sent out armies to crush cities that opposed Catholic rule. At first, Amsterdam stayed loyal to Catholic Spain, but by 1578, it officially became Protestant.
It was called the Alteratie, so we're welcoming sort of Protestant refugees also from all over Europe.
I'm wondering if
Just before the
in
fall of
that
Amsterdam,
original
the moment when the Spanish captured
city,
the
if they
largest
did build
cities
like walls all around the canal,
Antwerp
the
fell
canal,
into
because
Spanish hands, and
they were saying that one river is was a
and
moat.
Amsterdam took over as the main trade hub in the
So I'm wondering if it was
in the northwest
all
Europe.
walled
So at that
off
time,
at some
Amsterdam started
point,
to grow really,
and now
really
only
fast,
the
and new harbor areas were
gate
created, and they really had to
and
be
like
designed.
tower
To accommodate
remains.
this large influx of people, a new city wall was built further out, and the original one was torn down.
Okay,
This
just
actually
answer
created
my
a
question.
space around that original city gate that we were looking at, which would now be used as a way station in the center of a city market, which is still referenced in the name of the area. On the east side of the city, a canal was added, and on the west side, a much more robust harbor. This harbor area is the perfect visual example on a map of what was about to happen to Amsterdam. The Dutch were going to take the naval strength they had and turn it into a global power.
If you look at the map, you can see that Amsterdam is sort of between the eastern part of Europe, Finland to Denmark to Poland, and the southern parts, Spain. So Amsterdam is perfectly positioned in the middle, and there's a second nice position. You can see actually that Amsterdam is at the end of a huge European delta of rivers crisscrossing all the way through the continent.
By capitalizing on this position, Amsterdam ushered in the Dutch Golden Age. Amsterdam became the financial capital of the world, and it was under these circumstances that the modern stock exchange was born. It was during this era that the canal belt we know was created. The Dutch East India Company and later the Dutch West India Company were established and began extracting resources from all over the world. The Dutch Golden Age was more than just money. It was an era of scientific advancement, an outpouring of art from people like Rembrandt and Vermeer, and closely related, mapping. The Dutch got really good at mapping. The largest and most expensive book published in the 17th century was a 600-page atlas. Published by Johan Blauw, it displayed the precision and quality of mapmaking at the height of the Dutch Golden Age. As Amsterdam grew in global prominence, so did its risk of outside threat. Surrounded by Spain, England, and France, it became clear that fortifications and canals would need to be built to protect the city.
The city was expanding and was doing well, so also a lot of people from Germany, for instance, from Scandinavia, came here to work to build these canals, to work on the ships that were sailing to Asia. So the city grew very, very fast in the 17th century.
The solution was drawn up under the city surveyor and the city engineer. The plan would double the size of Amsterdam. Streets and canals followed a carefully designed grid and arc pattern.
Oh, wow.
Adapted to the swampy terrain. But there was a risk. Would the city continue to grow in population at the same rate? What if they built all this and no one came? So the solution was to do it in two parts.
It's almost like a windscreen wiper. You see the city expanding like a windscreen, and at one point it stops.
And within this plan, there are two distinct sections. The first is a series of canals. These were positioned at different distances from each other to create one row.
I guess all those zigzags along the edge, I wonder if those were the walls.
And another for the slightly less wealthy. These were very much intended to be separated from the rest of the expansion.
And then those are canals, like those other main
smelly, noisy work.
lines.
By the time they started building this, they had a problem. There had been so many immigrants moving to the city that many of them had just started building on random plots outside the city wall.
This turned into like a giant puzzle of people. They had to move around. So what they did was they created the canals next to the existing city, and many of the people who were already living there, they moved out into the agricultural land that was also urbanized. It was like a faubourg, an informally urbanized area. And they had to move out from the canal to make room for the canals. They moved them out into the Jordaan area. And then the structure of this Jordaan area couldn't be changed anymore because part of the building was already there. So it was already urbanized before it really became part of the city. And that is why you see these different structures on the map.
You can see that the angle and width of the roads in the Jordaan area perfectly match the farming pattern. This is a direct result of how fast the city was growing.
So this was really an outskirt of Amsterdam. There were no thoroughfares. You couldn't go through, and nobody needed to go through because it was like the edge of the city. No industries were allowed in the canal zone because this was the residential zone, and zoning was very strict. And so all the industries were pushed out.
You know, that's really incredible that they had like zoning areas way back then too.
So also the canals were less deep, and like
I mean, it makes sense.
The water didn't flow through it at all, so the water was still. So there was a very big environmental problem that was created by this fragmentation of the plan.
The city must have stunk. Everywhere I've read about this, it's mentioned how bad the city smelled. It was used as an open sewer all the way to 1930. So I don't think there was anywhere in the city that wasn't smelly. But because Jordaan was made up of a bunch of wooden structures that were really densely packed together, many of the fires that did happen in the city happened in this area. And on its other side was the new bastioned wall and moat, the path of which is still visible in a modern map.
Bastion. I like that word.
By the time they built this, it was already fully populated. Population growth had slowed slightly, but it was still growing, and the Dutch were still expanding their colonies. So they decided to continue on with their plan, completing the full star-shaped bastion ring around the city. But just 10 years after it was finished being constructed, came what would be known as the Year of Disaster, a moment of attack from England and France that marked the end of the Golden Age. The population stopped growing, and urban development froze.
The upside of economic downturn was that there was a lot of greenery inside Amsterdam. The burgomasters of Amsterdam, the Amsterdam government, they chose to make the best of it, and as they couldn't sell these as building plots, they chose to rent them as garden plots. The area was called the Plantage, which would translate as plantation, a big green area inside the city. The only remnant of this plantation area, this Plantage, is the zoo.
Plantage.
But the rest was parceled out and sold.
Amsterdam's modern development has jumped the canal belt, but it was the Golden Age that forged the iconic foundation of the city.
In the 19th century, after 200 years of stagnation, everything started again with the creation of the North Sea Canal, which gave Amsterdam a new link to the North Sea and a new connection to the world for bigger ships. So that gave a big impulse to the harbor, and at the same time the Central Station was created, and they built Central Station
Wow,
on
look at
an
that.
island in front of the harbor.
The construction
Amsterdam
of the
Central.
Central Station really cut off the city from that harbor.
There were huge discussions concerning about the location
Central
of the station.
Station.
So actually the Dutch government, not the Amsterdam government, took the decision to create the Central Station over there.
There have been many efforts over the years to make the city center more accessible.
They created a breakthrough street, the Raadhuisstraat, City Hall Street, which connects the now Palace on Dam Square, which used to be City Hall, to the new areas that were being developed beyond the city walls in the 19th century. So this street is from the 1880s. This is like quite a nice ensemble of 19th century building by the Van Gent architectural firm, which was one of the best, I think, in Amsterdam's 19th century architecture scene. Yeah.
But despite
So
all
that was
the
built in the
changes
1800s.
Amsterdam has still managed to keep its charm.
If you're on the canals, you never have a line of sight that goes on for too long, and that makes it feel cozy. Because if you compare that to a place like Paris, where they completely redesigned the city in the 19th century, and it's very clear that it's not tailored to a person, but it has a different idea. But Amsterdam is still very, very human.
It's communal.
Making all of the videos that I have made about New York and about New Amsterdam, and now being here and thinking about that, it's making me wonder what New York could have been like if the English hadn't taken over. Could have been a very different city. Might have felt like this.
For me, it's always a feeling of, actually walking through history. The further you move away from the center, from the origins of the city, you move through history and you get more and more to contemporary city.
And if you can't go walk physically through
So I'm wondering
it,
if,
maybe now you
for
can
my
ride
city, I
the
should make like an old town neighborhood.
Huge thanks to Jaap, Joachim, and Anne-Marie for helping me with this video. I've put links in the description to all of their work, so you can go check that out. And to the rest of you, thank you for watching. If you liked this, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We just hit 300.
I did like that.
That's really exciting. Share with your friends and family. It helps me a lot so that I can keep making these. And if you want to support me on my Patreon, that's also linked below. But either way, I'll see you guys in another video very soon. Peace.
All right, so big takeaway. I guess part of it was like part of they had defense in mind for like defending against the French and English and whoever else. So that I guess they had a wall like around the all the canals. So that's kind of an interesting takeaway. What else? Some of the like dikes that they built were higher elevated, obviously to prevent the ocean from coming in and this flooding. And then just the sheer amount of work that it takes to build on a unstable ground like that. But it's a constant rebuilding of like the roads and all that, and some of the buildings will sink over time. So I'm wondering if for my city, I need to have like, well, I guess I kind of do, like the streets are more elevated. They're at least, a few blocks from sea level. It would be really wild if Minecraft like added in natural disasters. So if like flooding became a real thing. Maybe I can get two plazas out of all this iron, right? I don't think so, but so yeah, I looked at another takeaway from that video is that they were pretty organized with their city layout and design and even the zoning and all that. I don't know when they incorporated like the different types of land use, like what era that would have been, but I mean, clearly there was like extensive planning involved, which obviously makes sense. I mean, just because it happened a long time ago doesn't mean the people weren't intelligent. It's just cool how some of that has been preserved even to today, like the old gate house and all that. So I'm like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to add in some of that, like historic looking buildings into my city. Get rid of these bows I don't need. All right. Got quite a bit of granite now. Moving right along. Guess this diorite might have to go to waste. There we go. We'll clean things up. Keep it tidy. Yeah, sorry about the mic. It keeps cutting out because I've got some noise in the background. Alright, yeah, this will get us at least some progress on the plaza. Also, the thing is, with all these canals, then you have to build bridges, so it's still like connected by foot. So I'm like, I think I may build, like to have to build like smaller bridges throughout. For example, from here all the way down to there, like, I guess you just have to follow the paths, and there's a big gap where there isn't any like there's only one other footbridge right there. So it's all about planning, and I mean, you can go in, take the train, cross over if you want to do that. I guess it just makes more sense why, where there are bridges, that it would be built up even more. And from here, there's like, obviously, this is one of the main thoroughfares. But from here, the next bridge isn't until like, I don't know if you can see, there's the railroad bridge and then another like footbridge, but it's all the way down there. So I'm like, I wonder if I should build like another bridge in between. But I don't know. I think it just kind of it'll develop as it like naturally. This is my second plaza that I'm working on. And yeah, I really want this to be like a big plaza. The first one is like in the middle right here. And it's pretty big, but I'm wondering if I need to go even bigger. I think maybe some of like these plazas, I kind of get inspired from Spain and all of their plazas that they have. I'm sure like a lot of other cities, well, I know they do, but I've been to Spain, so I'm just going off a reference from what I saw there. And these plazas like are really kind of like community gathering points, and where they'll have like benches along the perimeter of them, like different restaurants, outdoor seating, all that. So I think I want to replicate that in my city for all the inhabitants, for all the future inhabitants. Right now, this is a Minecraft realm, but I'm wondering if, you know, at some point it may grow into, I guess if it's a LAN server, then a lot more people could join. Yeah. So this one I think is just going to be long and kind of facing this way for the most part, or this way, the ocean, but this is kind of south of the downtown, like I said earlier, so it would be cool to have like strategic plazas in different areas with good views of the city. And I think I probably will build up like high-rise buildings around this plaza as well. Yeah, really sorry about the background noise and why this mic is keeps cutting out. Just gotta do my laundry. Gotta get caught up. I like to do all my laundry at once. Let it really stack up, and then I can just get it all knocked out at once. I know a lot of people just do a little bit of laundry more frequently, but I'm like, why do that when you can not worry about it for a while and then just get it done all at once? You know what? Let me know what you think. Yeah, and now that my city is growing, like this skyline, I can then strategically put buildings to where I can preserve some of these views. So like I could keep this like this gap open and then just have like buildings right here. So then it kind of looks more layered. Like that. Yeah. But I've also got to keep in mind dedicated green spaces as well. Drinking some iced coffee. All right. Yeah, I'm really gonna have to offload some of this granite so I can get rid of the more of these trees. And then obviously I'll replant some trees, make it look nice. At some point I will need to just spend time destroying all these chests that I have randomly placed throughout so I can consolidate and then put them in kind of a central storage area. It's gotten pretty bad. Just not knowing where different blocks are because they're scattered all around. I just know that's going to be a bit tedious. Really don't like these kinds of oak trees. Not a fan. I can just burn them. Set them ablaze. Oh yeah, get those sound effects baked in. Gotta love it. Look at that massive tree. I think I'll know when this plaza is done as far as size. What the? How did that come out of there? Ah, wow. Oh, great. Don't tell me I have some monsters under the plaza. I think I got more torches, though. Hopefully eradicate these beasts. Oops. Oops. Oh no. Oh no. Oh man, this is getting bad. And no wonder I'm getting a bunch of mobs. It's like a massive nook. Oh, buddy. They're on to me. Please don't get my levels up. Okay. I just want to have a nice, safe plaza. Go away. Check on the stream. One viewer. Oh man. Alright. Almost died? Really? About to be dead? Really? Okay. Just the cost of doing business out here in the crafting world. Time to get rid of these trees. Oops. Maybe I should prioritize like putting benches all along the perimeter so that it like you can still see and enjoy the ocean. Oh, come on. Well, that pretty much ruined my burn operation. Guess we'll watch one more Amsterdam video. Okay. All right.
It's the 1600s, and Amsterdam is experiencing an economic boom never seen before. Thousands of rich merchants are flooding in from the fallen Antwerp that is now under Spanish control.
Antwerp.
The problem this created is very unique, and it's the reason why Amsterdam looks so weird. See, every one of these merchants wanted the same thing: a house with immediate access to the canals. The canals were crucial as they functioned as slow but effective highways, making them invaluable to rich merchants at the time. So, in 1613, the city council launched the most ambitious urban expansion.
I think Antwerp was a
Enter
city-state.
the Golden Project, or
I'm not sure
the
exactly
Canal
where,
With this
but
project, they wanted to drain the marshland around the old
maybe
city and
nearby.
build a concentric system of canals, creating 3 new canals.
I guess that's in the
The
Netherlands.
Keizersgracht and the Prinsengracht. It seemed crazy at the time, but they did it. This is why, when you look at a map of Amsterdam today, you see this weird half circle of canals.
Is there a wall,
Now,
like,
the
still
layout of
standing?
these canals is just one part of the story of why Amsterdam looks so weird. The other part is the houses on them. See, plots were
Yeah.
standardized to 5 to 7 meters in width, which is very, very narrow. The reason was that even with this expansion, canal access was still very limited. So the only way to give as many people as possible access to the canals was to make the houses narrow. The problem
Makes
was that
sense.
no rich merchant wanted to live in a tiny, narrow house. And there was a limit to how tall they could build as well. So the only solution was to build deeper. While these canal houses
Build
are
up.
typically around 4.5 to 6.5 meters in width and 12 to 15 meters tall, they are 20 to 30 meters deep. Now, you could get a
Wow.
wider house. Only problem was the city taxed you based on the width of the house. So only the very wealthy did this. A perfect example of this is at the Golden Dam. Houses here are 2 to 3 times wider than the rest. Only Amsterdam's elite resided here. But the weirdness of Amsterdam's houses doesn't stop at their dimensions. Due to the narrowness of these houses, the stairs are so tight that bringing large items inside is nearly impossible. That's why if you look up at these houses, you'll often spot a hook or beam sticking out near the roof cable. These hooks were used to hoist furniture and goods up from the street, swinging them up through the walls,
wow.
since they wouldn't fit
Okay.
up the staircase. This system was practical in the past for lifting trade goods into storage attics, and even today, people use these hooks to move couches or mattresses into their
Oh, I
attics.
need that
But
for my
these
place.
houses get even weirder. Let me show you. Look at these houses from the side. Do you see it? They lean forward. In Old Amsterdam, it was required by building codes that houses tilt forward just a little bit. This deliberate forward tilt is known in Dutch as op de vluchtboeven, which I hope I pronounced decently okay. It basically means building on the run, or angled forward. Until the
Why?
19th century, every new house had to lean out over the street by a few degrees. Builders even had rules for exactly how much leaning was allowed, and corner buildings had to lean on both sides since they faced 2 streets. But why on earth would they mandate a forward lean? Well, for practical reasons. It made it way easier to haul up goods on those hooks. Imagine you're hoisting a heavy barrel or a sofa with a rope and hook to the top floor. A building that tilts forward a little bit means your load will hang slightly away from the facade, reducing the risk of smashing into the windows on the way up. It's a clever
Wow,
solution
that is
is very much
wild.
appreciated in a busy trading hub where attic warehouses were very common. Secondly, some say it just looks good. Rich Amsterdam merchants love to show off, and a forward-leaning house literally pushes its best
I don't know
face
if that
out for
looks
everyone
good.
to see. In the cramped medieval streets of old Europe, buildings often jutted out as they rose, a style called jettying, and Amsterdam even continued this tradition in
Okay, well, my buildings are
houses
not
were
gonna jet out like
the
that.
forward lean is one reason Amsterdam streets look so storybook-like. Houses seem to be peering down at you, each with a little mischievous tilt. But forward tilt isn't the only kind of leaning.
You know what? I did not know
Some
that.
buildings lean sideways
I guess
or slouch in
that's
one direction.
new
Entire rows of
information that
houses
I
can
did not
be
know about
warped,
Amsterdam.
earning nicknames like the dancing houses because they lean at different angles. Unlike the intentional forward lean, these sideways leans are usually not on purpose. They're a consequence of Amsterdam's tricky, swampy ground and aging foundations. Here's the issue. Amsterdam is built on a marsh, and all the houses sit on wooden piles driven deep into the soft soil. Think of these piles as stilts hammered through layers of peat and clay to reach firmer sand underground. In the old days, in the 17th century, those piles were made of wood, literally whole tree trunks rammed into the ground. A typical canal house might rest on dozens of wooden piles. The Royal Palace on Dam Square, a massive building, was built atop 13,659 wooden piles driven into the mud. Without these pile foundations, the heavy brick structures would simply sink unevenly into the soggy earth, destroying the buildings over time. There is a problem with wooden piles though, because even though they work well as long as they stay wet, because submerged wood can last for centuries, when the water table drops that exposes the wood to air, it starts to rot and weaken. Over the last few hundred years, some of those old timber piles have decayed or shifted. The result is what you see here, houses that have sunk unevenly. A famous spot to observe these houses is along the Damrak, the main avenue from Central Station, where a row of old waterfront houses tilts at various angles. Some
It's tricky
also bulge or
building on such unstable foundation.
Though modern buildings use concrete or steel piles drilled much deeper. The ground is just too soft otherwise. Even some large trees in city parks sit on buried wooden piles to keep them from sinking. And the city's water authority carefully controls groundwater levels to prevent old wood foundations from rotting. It's a constant battle between Amsterdam and the swamp it's built on. Actually, the very name Amsterdam comes from Amsterdam, a dam built on the Amstel River back in the 13th century. Around the year 1270, villagers constructed a dam to hold back the frequent floods and tidal surges.
Wait, what year was that?
That dam, where Dam Square is today, allowed them to control water levels and created a small harbour. The settlement that grew by this dam became Amsterdam, literally the dam on the Amstel. So managing water is in the city's DNA, but water still poses another threat. Much of Amsterdam and the Netherlands in general is below sea level. The city's elevation is on average about 2 meters under sea level. Without intervention, the North Sea and rivers would regularly flood this whole region. So, to prevent that, the Dutch built an extensive system of dikes, dams and drainage. Natural sand dunes along the coast are reinforced by high dikes. And there are huge storm surge barriers and sluices to control the sea's incursions. River dikes
like New Orleans.
Floodwaters from the Rhine and eaches of rivers. Amsterdam itself is shielded by dikes and sea locks that keep high tides out of its canals. Inside the city, a web of canals and pumping stations continuously manages the water level. In earlier times, windmills were used to pump water out. Today, electric pumps do that job. The canals are actually engineered to function as a drainage system. They channel excess rainwater away and maintain a stable groundwater level to protect those precious wooden foundations. So, Amsterdam looks weird because it's basically defying nature. And by the way, the tallest structures you'll see in the central city are church spires and maybe a 17th century clock tower or two. This flat skyline is quite distinctive in fact, and there are a couple of reasons for the absence of tall buildings. One is historical and practical. As we discussed, the soft soil and reliance on wooden pile foundations made building very tall quite difficult in earlier times. The engineering simply wasn't there to support heavy, tall masonry structures on swampy ground. Additionally, Amsterdam's booming period was in the late 1600s, when architects favored ornate but relatively low-rise buildings. That's why most canal houses are 4 to 5 stories.
But when was the dam built? I guess before that?
20th century, Amsterdam's entire central area was already built up and cherished for its historic value, which leads to the second reason: heritage preservation and zoning laws. This doesn't mean Amsterdam has 0 modern high-rises, they're just kept to certain areas outside the historic core. But that's why Amsterdam looks so weird. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Just one last thing, I made this map of Amsterdam for this video that is now available on the Map Studio store, which is my new store. If you would like to get this map, you can actually get a 20% discount right now on both the poster and the frame. So click the link in the description and use the code OBF at checkout and you will get your 20% discount. This is the best way to support the channel, and by buying these posters, every single cent that I make from these posters will be put back into these videos to make them better, higher quality, and more of them. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
That's great. Very informative.
It's the 1600s.
Okay, 1600s. I just wasn't paying attention.
Amsterdam is experiencing an economic boom.
All right, I'm gonna look up when it was founded. Something's about to attack me. Oh man, yeah. Okay, it's 12th century. So the dam. So in the 1100s or the 12th century, they built a dam across the Amstel River to prevent flooding. Its official founding is traditionally dated October 27, 1275. Huh, okay. It was a fishing town. Yeah, interesting. Okay. I gotta clear all these mobs from my plaza at some point, man. I don't even know where they're coming from. I'm trying to torch all these caves. It's a bit unsettling, I'll say that much. Alright, I'm pretty happy with this, I think. Could put a little elevation now. Have like benches and then maybe trees along this whole side. Yeah. Where is that coming from? Starting to get annoyed by all these unusual sounds. There must be like a hollowed out area with a bunch of mobs. And I guess I'll have to reignite this. Yeah, so this could be like a green space with trees. And then I've got another building some lofts, but it's pretty far back. I haven't really planned out a road network for this side. Yeah, so the lofts are all the way over there. So I've got, I'll probably put more high density leading up to the oceanfront property. I really do have a lot of space to work with, which is nice. Alright, let's go ahead and see the dimensions. So 2618, wait, 1982, 72, 20, okay. So almost 30, 28, 27. I guess about 27 wide. So I can maybe make that a little bit longer. All right, let's just do, let's just make it an even 30. So 1954, 64, 74, 84. Okay. So I got two more, what do you call it? So do like maybe 30 by 60. About 60. All right. I think I'm gonna call it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna keep streaming, so feel free to tune in.